Hey guys, so guess what? I have a joke for you. Ready? Okay. So one time there was this guy, there was actually a donkey. No, it was a pirate. No. Okay, well, I can be funny just like you guys, okay? I really, really can.
Sid, you gotta understand, being funny is not easy.
Yeah, it's an art, Sid.
Let me give you an example. A guy walks into a bar.
So as you can see, it is not easy, Sid.
So how about maybe starting off with some knock-knock jokes or something?
Knock-knock? I could do knock-knock jokes, yeah.
I think you do a great job.
That'd be great, Sid.
Okay, awesome, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Nightlife. Here's Kirk and Kellen Gilbert.
And we're here for your enjoyment. Living it up, laughing it up while we're lifting them up. Tell your family and friends that the party never ends. Cause we're living it up, laughing it up while we're lifting them up on Nightlife. Living it up, laughing it up while we're lifting them up on Nightlife. Nightlife, nightlife, nightlife.
Always a funny man. Here's your host of Nightlife, Tim Bergen.
Craig, good job, guys. Whew. Ladies and gentlemen, the compassionate and considerate Sydney. Yeah, okay. Well, you know what? Thank you for tuning into the program. I know that you've got many choices out there for TV viewing, and so I want to thank you for tuning into this program. You know, it brings joy and hope to people all around the world. Now, each program has a theme, and today's program's theme is happiness and joy. Now, many people believe that these words are interchangeable. Guys, do you think that happiness and joy are like the same word?
No, I don't.
What do you think the difference is?
I think joy's more foundational. Happy's more
Feeling.
of a feeling or a situation.
Sid, what do you think? Is happiness and joy?
That's pretty deep. So I think happiness.
I'm getting deep on you. I don't want to get deep on this show.
Happiness is happiness and joy.
Happiness is a song by Farrell.
I messed that up.
Just lose it with this show sometimes. By definition, happiness is generally from something external that has touched us. A song on the radio, a funny video, one of those cat videos, or one of those passing gas videos that she watches all the time. I don't know. You know, a hug. These things can all create a sense of happiness. And at times, happiness is almost uncontrollable. We see or we feel something, and we simply become happy. Now, joy, on the other hand, is a choice. It's something that we decide we're going to receive from the Lord. Now, we're going to talk about that on today's show. But just to let you know, happiness will not be an option today. Comedian Marty Simpson joins us today, and Marty gets much of his material from just his life. And if you think about it, how much material could you give him on your day-to-day basis? Well, if you don't take yourself too seriously, we can learn to enjoy the moments. In fact, the Bible tells us that laughter does good like medicine. So getting ready to get your emotional flu shot as we welcome Marty Simpson to Nightlife. We'll be right back with Marty in just a few moments. Guys, take us out.
We know how to show it. Give me the night fever. We know how to do it.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
A broken pencil.
A broken pencil who?
Never mind, it's pointless. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Hatch.
Hatch who?
Oh, God bless you. Thanks. Antonia, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Alec.
Ask who?
I'll ask the questions around here. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Noah.
Noah who?
Noah, any place I can get a place to eat. I'm hungry.
Sydney, I'm glad you have a day job.
Well, I have one more for you.
Oh, no.
You ready?
Okay.
Okay, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Opportunity.
Opportunity who?
Opportunity doesn't act twice.
Oh, you know what? I love your sense of humor, but let's leave the jokes really to the professionals. Ladies and gentlemen, Marty Simpson is in the house.
Hey. Well, thank you for this opportunity, and I'm very excited because Adidas has just given me an opportunity. Adidas just sponsored my show. I got a tweet right before this, and they're giving me one new pair of shoes every month, and all I have to do to pick them up is go to my local outlet store and pay full retail price. So, got the same deal with Ralph Lauren and Under Armour, so it's good. So, very good. My wife and I recently went and saw the new Star Wars movie that came out 6 months ago on a date night, and we were at Olive Garden afterwards, and she was like, Marty, I love the opening scene when there was that sexy young male actor, and then they broke him out of prison, and then he wasn't in prison. I mean, he wasn't in the movie anymore the rest of the movie. Why was that? And I was like, honey, I think that's because you're talking about the Pirates of the Caribbean trailer that was at the beginning. And she was like, oh, that makes way more sense. We should go see that. And I was like, yeah, we should. But well, I went bald when I was 22. Yeah, usually I get some groans or gasps from the women in the crowd there. But I got married when I was 21, so woo, got right in under that deadline. Yeah, that's good times. But what's weird about that is my wife was 21 when we got married, and she looked 17. And when I got married, I was 21 and looked 21. But then a year later, my wife still looked 17, and I look like I look now. So that's me in the grocery store walking, holding hands with that little hot 17-year-old, like, how you doing? This is good. People are like, how did you get her to marry you? And I'm like, prayers of a righteous man. Yes. Better check yourself. Amen. That's right. Amen. That is fun. Well, romance changes the older you get as you go through life. Because when I was 21, 22, when we first got married, it was like long walks in the park, eye contact, chocolates. I pretended to listen for hours at a time. And but now, as I'm 46-year-old, been married 23 and a half years, romance is mostly just tech support. Yeah, it's tech support. I'm gone on a week-long cruise, and I get home, and my wife is like, Marty, I've been trying to get this document to print for like 3 days. Can't get this document to print. I walk over there and reach over her shoulder, click a few buttons, and it prints, and she's like, oh, baby. You know what all the error messages mean. I'm like, you want me to update your iOS? She's like, do I? So when I was like 20, I was like the it guy. Now I'm just like the IT guy. Little hang time on that one. That explains that earlier segment. That makes that earlier segment make more sense to me now. Yeah, so that's funny. But that knock-knock joke literally did knock twice. I just want to point that out. But, so that's fun. But yeah, so we, my wife and I talk about this, the 5 Love Languages book. Have y'all done the 5 Love Languages book? Well, the Southern Baptist Convention just tweeted that the 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman is now officially part of Scripture.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding. Just messing with you. It's like the gasp in the crowd, like, what? No, but it's the 5 love languages. They're like quality time, like 4 others. I didn't read it. I don't know. So. No, but my wife's love language is positive words of affirmation, which is like perfect for our marriage because mine is sarcasm. Yeah, she's like, honey, you just need to shower me with praise. You don't even need to mean it. I was like, oh, well, sign me up for that. I'm like, honey, this meal that you cooked, did you follow the recipe? Because it is fantastic. And she comes in like, thanks. I'm like, it works. That's awesome. Told my kids in a really young age, Daddy's love language is sarcasm. So, little Savannah, I know you're 3 years old, but if you ever feel like Daddy's talking down to you and making you feel stupid, that's because I love you. Okay. Tell my kids before every Little League game, no matter what happens in the game tonight, Daddy will always love you, win or tie. Now, win or tie in our family means you can strike out 1,000 times and Daddy's still gonna love you. We're gonna appreciate you, and you can strike out 1,000 times, but we're still gonna love you, but you're not gonna ride home with us on those nights because we're not gonna associate with you for a few hours after those games, but we're gonna love you and have food for you, like DSS said I had to. Y'all are looking at me like I'm serious. This is sarcasm. You gotta pay attention. This is good. But my wife recently went back to school and got her master's to teach 2nd grade. So now she's professionally qualified to handle me. So that's good. But you can't say anymore now with the Common Core and different things that the government has said. You can't tell a kid that they're not smart anymore. You can't say that. My wife has, when she teaches 2nd grade, they pick out a little book that's like a 5th grader's book. And she's like, oh, you can't read that book. And they're like, why? She can't say, you're not smart enough to read that book. She has to say, that's a someday book. So that's good terminology. And then they go back and pick out a little kindergarten book. And she's like, oh, no, that book is too easy. And then they go back and pick out a 2nd grade book. And she's like, that book is just right. So I've, a little do-it-yourself, fixer-upper guy, handyman around my house, got my knee pads on, got my tool belt on to fix the dishwasher. And she comes running in, she's like, oh, honey, this dishwasher fix, this is a someday fix for you. She's like, why don't you just empty the dishwasher from time to time? I think that's just right. And so we're shopping, and she's got that name brand Gucci purse, and I'm like, oh, honey, that is a someday purse. Based on the way things are going in my comedy career, that is a someday with another man purse. That is God's will if you end up with that purse. But no, I'm like that knockoff Louis Vuitton over there. That is just right. Well, I appreciate y'all having me, and thanks for the time, and it was fun being here. Thanks.
All right.
Are bringing a whole lot of happiness and joy through their no-nonsense wisdom. Take a look at this video.
There's a lot of things going on in the world. Here's some advice. Call Jesus. Things not working out at your job. Call Jesus. Things not working out at your school. Call Jesus. Things not working out, like, anywhere. Call Jesus. Everybody needs a little Jesus now and then in their heart. If your boyfriend break up with you, call Jesus. Don't call Tyrone. Call Jesus. Jesus, 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 yes.
That was the advice of Danny and Dana, and I love how they say, just call Jesus.
Just call Jesus. Well, that's great advice. That's something that'll stick in your head.
Yeah, definitely.
So is that the next thing you're going to say to Jake when he comes in and had a hard day? Jake, just call Jesus.
Just call Jesus, Jake.
Well, let's see if the guys need to call Jesus after whatever they tell us their National Day of is.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what time it is. Kellen, tell them.
Today is National Eat an Apple Day. And I know you've heard the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away, but this is actually true.
That's right, Kellen. An apple a day can actually lower the risk of heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, and even cancer.
So if one apple can do that, I wonder what one apple pie could do.
Well, nah, bro. Don't try this at home. Just stick to the apple.
Well, I guess that means that you guys don't want any of this apple pie then. So, Sid, why don't you go ahead and take it and help yourself? Maybe take it home to Jake. You guys don't want any?
Thanks, Tim.
Well, it is our joy. You've already laughed with him. Now let's hear more from Marty Simpson. Marty, welcome to the program.
All right.
Glad to have you here, man.
All right.
You are so funny.
Man, I appreciate it.
It's probably a dumb question for you, but I gotta ask anyhow. Have you always been funny?
Yeah, I think so. I think that my family is really funny. My mom is hilarious. My mom laughs a lot. My brother's really dry and funny, and Yeah, I think it does always. Like,
Now, is this something? Is this really the way you were made? I mean, do you enjoy being, there for people and making them laugh like all the time, like being on? Are you on all the time, or do you have these downtimes?
That's a funny. You gave me so much more credit in that question than I deserve. You said, do I enjoy being there for people? I think it's way more narcissistic than that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, I'm confessing a little bit that I think that there was a line on a TV show where one of the characters was like, I'm like Tinkerbell. I need applause to live. So I think that God uses that brokenness inside the comedian to kind of outwardly need the approval of strangers to also then bless the strangers, I think, with the laughter. And so I think the Christian comedian's job is to navigate that a little more inspirationally and less bitter. Mm-hmm. But I think inside of most funny people, you'll find the same broken person.
What were you like as a kid? Were you funny? Were you getting into trouble because you were funny? Or
I think that I was funny, but I wasn't being funny on purpose. And then my mother would point out later, she would tell stories when I was like 10 about when I was like 6, and I'm like, oh, that was kind of funny. Like, I missed 2 weeks of school in first grade for being sick, and then they gave me all the worksheets that I had to make up for it, and I was just sitting on the edge of the creek we lived by, and when my mom came home, I was just crumpling them up, each paper, and just throwing them in the creek. I was like 6, because in my mind, I'm like, if that homework's in the river right there, in the stream right there, I don't have to do it. And so they told that for years and years, and I thought that was funny, and then my uncle, my mom's brother, has just always been funny. And so I think our house has just always been like a laughter house. But then I married my wife, and then the in-laws aren't sarcastic, and they aren't always cracking wise. And so for the first year of dating and marriage, that was a little awkward. Sometimes I would record scratch the dinner table, like, they're like, what they're talking about this, talking about fishing, and then I'll say, zing, and it's like,
is he being funny, or?
Yeah.
Or
and they look at me like, what? And so that was a learning curve, I think. But they've accepted my sarcasm, and so they've kind of learned the rhythm of it, so that's been fun. But I do think as an inspirational Christian comic, it's our job to find the ways to try to bless people with laughter.
Now, you make people happy by what you do. I mean, mostly, either. Let's put it this way. I've got a sign in my office that says, everyone brings joy to this office. Someone entering and someone leaving.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
But I mean, you make people happy with what you do. But have you found the clear difference between happiness and joy in your own life?
I mean, I think yes, today. I mean, I think there's some days when the bitter comic can go through the motions, make the crowd laugh, and then in the car ride home, call my best friend and badmouth the setup or the venue or whatever. But like the crowd doesn't necessarily see that. But I think the joy in my own life, yes. I love my life. My kids are 18 and 15. My wife has been married 23 and a half years to her, and we're happy. The house is very happy. So I think that I've kind of found my calling is, and it is kind of therapy for me to get to have something negative happen and then know as it's happening, oh, well, I'm going to be able to spend this.
I can laugh about this.
Later, yeah. And so that kind of is the MO of what I do, is like we're going through something like you're in bad traffic or whatever you're pointing out that's bad, instead of just complaining about it right then, like peppering it with things that make people laugh.
Well, doing what you do, most people don't realize the amount of work that goes into it. I mean, the travel, time away from family, time away from home.
The sitting around with your sweatpants on at home for hours on end.
All the struggling, suffering for Jesus, sitting at home with your sweatpants on.
But it is, you are right. Go ahead, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
But anyhow, I should have known this when I was prepping for this interview, that this would be hard to get through.
Right.
But in all seriousness, it is hard stuff. How do you stay up? I mean, you talk about how you look at the bad things and you're able to twist them around, but how do you stay up? How do you keep your family together, keep things going, the very practical things of life with being on the road?
I think that's the key, and I always say, people are like, does it hurt your marriage leaving 3 or 4 times a month? And I'm like, I kind of have a marriage that benefits from me leaving occasionally, I think.
I knew that was coming.
I like getting texts from my kids. They're like, we miss you, Dad, because I cook. I grocery shop and cook because my wife went back to school, and so I started doing that about 8 years ago. And so my kids kind of miss when I'm gone. That's kind of fun.
They get no groceries?
Well, my wife did great for 15 years cooking and doing the grocery shopping, but then when she became a full-time school teacher, I just kind of took that over because I was like thinking, well, it took like a year of me having her come home tired and then her going grocery shopping and cooking for me it took like a year. It wasn't like a given. I didn't realize, hey, this is what I should do.
You're a guy. This is dumb.
Well, but now, 10 years removed from it, I'm like, I grocery shop I'm like, yeah, I'm that guy. But I do, and that my wife, I don't think would trade that. I don't think she wants me in a 9-to-5 job where she has to go back to the way it was at all. But I do think that it's a real question that you're asking, that how do we find peace in our life and give all that laughter to other people? I think that the laughter is rooted in pain. I mean, the meaner you are, the funnier it is. The sad things are what's funny. So you do have to be rooted in your relationship with Christ first, I think, to be an inspirational comic, to do positive and uplifting comedy. Because the club comedy is authentic. I think great comedy is authentic. I don't think it's hard to be clean. I think it's hard to be funny. So I think the guys on TV that are rated R are doing what I'm doing. It's just their life is probably rated R. Like their authentic real life is not something that would be PG rated.
It's not uplifting, right?
Right, but when they say those painful R-rated things to a crowd that relates to them, it's still funny. So I think the challenge for the clean inspirational comic is to find those avenues that the pain is there worth talking about that also can just be fun and quirky and positive.
Well, I'm glad that you bring life and quirkiness and fun to people, and it's good to hear that your life and your marriage are solid. We appreciate you being here. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back after this. Well, I hope you laughed today. And in fact, I hope you laughed a lot. Marty's very funny. And if you want to know more about him, feel free to contact us here at Nightlife. You know what? It's always good to laugh. It makes us feel better. Sometimes just laughing and having others laughing around us makes us laugh harder, increasing our happiness. The only problem with happiness is that it fades away when everything that is making us happy fades. Now, joy, on the other hand, joy goes deep. And it's not based on circumstances, people, or things, but based on our relationship with the Lord. Many people are on a search for happiness, and I hope that you found that today with Marty's sense of humor. But what they really want is joy, something that goes deep and remains even in difficult times. Now, if that's you, one of our friends would be glad to help you. You can call 888-665-4483. Ask them to pray for you to find joy, and guess what? You'll find it. Thanks for watching today. We'll be laughing really for days to come, and we hope that you will be too. But more importantly, we wish you joy. So until next time, from all of us at Nightlife, be blessed. Guys, you ready to take us out?
I got this feeling inside my bones. It goes electric wavy when I praise the Lord. All through my city, all through my home. We're flying high, no ceiling when we're in our zone. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. I feel the spirit all around me, you don't stop. I can't take my eyes up off you, Lord, you move phenomenally. Through my life, the way you rock it, it don't stop. And under the lights, when everything glows, nowhere to hide, Lord, when you're getting close. When you move, Lord, you already know. I can just imagine, just imagine, just imagine. And nothing I can see but you, so I dance, 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 dance. Feel the spirit moving me, so I dance, dance, dance. Come on. All the things you brought me through, I just dance, 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 dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. Can't stop the feeling. So I dance, dance, dance. Can't stop the feeling. So keep dancing. Ooh, it's something spiritual. It's in the air, it's in my blood, it's rushing on. Don't need no reason, Lord, take control. We're flying high, no ceiling when we praise the Lord. Cause I got that sunshine in my pocket, got that good soul in my feet. Feel your spirit all around me. You don't stop. I can't take my eyes off of you. Lord, you move phenomenally. Through my life, the way you rock it don't stop. And under the lights, when everything glows, nowhere to hide, Lord, when you're getting close. When you move, Lord, you already know. I can just imagine, just imagine, just imagine. Nothing I can see but you, so I dance, 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 dance. I feel your spirit moving me, so I dance, dance, dance. Come on. All the things you brought me through, I just dance, 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 dance. And ain't nobody leaving soon, so keep dancing. Can't stop the feeling. Oh, so I dance, 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 dance. So I dance, 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 can't stop the feeling. So I dance, 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 yeah. So keep dancing. Ooh, hey. Put those hands together, come on. Jesus said you've been so good to me, 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 so good to me. I can't stop that, I can't stop that, I can't stop that, can't stop the feeling. Nothing I can see but you, so I dance, dance, dance. Can't stop the feeling.
Happiness is a song by Sparrow.
All the things you brought me through, I just dance, dance, dance. Can't stop the feeling. So keep dancing.